What's going on, you guys? White Fox 1225 here with another video, and today we have lots of Morrowind news to go over. In the last couple days we had an ESO live episode, a gameplay trailer, and a bunch of interviews with a lot of news. And in this video I'm just going to go over that and tell you guys everything you need to know. ZeniMax released a new gameplay trailer for the expansion, and I think they did a good job with it, but it didn't show off too much. What we did see was a quick glimpse of the Warden in action. We saw him summon a cliff racer to attack an enemy, which is one of the skills he has. Also, we got a look at some of the new motifs and armor styles, which are returning from other Elder Scrolls games. I think ZeniMax did a good job with them, they looked pretty good, and overall I was a pretty big fan. Let's move on to Vvardenfell and talk about the zone itself. On ESO Live, we got to see a bit of the zone where they were walking through it, and I'll put some gameplay of that on the screen right now. But they said Vvardenfell is 30 to 40 times bigger than Orsinium, which makes it by far the biggest zone we've seen in ESO. The map also looks a lot less desolate, it's less ashland and more swamp area and forest area. They say that's because the Red Mountain hasn't erupted yet, and also the Tribunal is around at this time, so Morrowind is just doing a little better in general. The zone looks a lot like Morrowind. If you played the third Elder Scrolls game, you're definitely going to recognize a lot of locations. One thing I really like is that they made all new architecture and all new models for this zone. So it doesn't look like they're just reusing assets they already had in the game. It looks fresh, and I just can't wait to run around and quest in it. Siltstriders will be present in the Morrowind expansion, but sadly we won't be able to ride them like I know we all wanted to. But you can use them as fast travel to unknown locations, which we have seen in other Elder Scrolls games. I kinda wish we could ride them around, but I knew that wouldn't happen, but it's just cool to have them in the zone at least. You will be able to climb the Red Mountain, and there's a delve near the top, which I was surprised by. I thought it was going to be walled off and kind of just be a void in the middle of the zone, but it's really good news that you're going to be able to climb it and actually go near the Red Mountain. The zone is also going to have two public dungeons, one being a Dwemer Rune, and a 12-person trial called the Halls of Fabrication, and in that one you actually get to see Sotha Sil's workshop. There's going to be a cosmetic reward for that trial too, so just like we've seen in other trials where you got skins where you glowed and stuff, there'll be one for this one too. Let's move on and talk about some of what we learned about the story. Some of this we already knew, so I apologize if it's repeated, but I want to go over all of it really quick. Vivek is growing weaker and you have to help him figure out why, and at the same time Bardar, and I probably mispronounced that so I apologize, but Bardar is a giant rock that hovers over the city of Vivek and it's slowly crashing down. So you're at the edge of a catastrophic event and you have to try to stop it and help Vivek gain his power back. The storyline alone should last you around 30 hours, and that doesn't include things like delves, exploration, world bosses, and things like that. If you start the storyline at level 1, you should end up at about level 30 by the time you finish. So it's safe to say we have quite a bit of content coming, and that's really cool. If you've never played ESO before, there will be a new tutorial for you where Naryu leads you around, and Naryu will be a main character in the zone, which is good because she's definitely a fan favorite. Let's move on and talk about Battlegrounds, which is what I'm personally most excited for. Battlegrounds is the new small scale PvP. Battlegrounds are going to take about 15 to 20 minutes for one match, and they said the gameplay is really fast paced. They compared it to games like Quake. If you've ever played that, it's an extremely fast paced first person shooter. They said it's really fast to get into the action, somewhere near 4 to 6 seconds after you respawn. In case you don't know already, the games will be 4v4v4. The teams are not based on the alliances though, you can play with anyone on any alliance, and the teams will be purple, orange, and green. There's going to be 3 different types of games, each one with a few different game modes in them. They're mobile flag, stationary flag, and deathmatch. At launch there's only going to be one game mode for each game type, but like I said they will add more over time. For mobile flag there's going to be a capture the flag mode, which people who have played first person shooters or anything like that will be pretty familiar with. You're going to have to capture the enemy team's flag and bring it back to your base. Later on they're going to try to add a game mode where there's just one center flag that you have to capture and bring back to your base too. The next game type is stationary flag. The game mode that's coming with that is domination. That's what you would expect from a shooter as well, where there's 3 static points around the map that you have to capture by being in that area for a certain amount of time. Later on they're going to try to add King of the Hill, where there's just one capture point and you're all going to fight over it. Also with the launch of Battlegrounds there's going to be a team deathmatch, and that's just going to be straight up killing the enemy team. We haven't gotten a look at the maps yet, but they will have hazards and traps and stuff on them to spice up the gameplay a little bit. You're going to get alliance points just like you do in Citadel for Battlegrounds, and there's also going to be leaderboards where you can earn special armor and things like that. Next up, let's talk about the Warden. Sadly, if you want to play as a Warden, you're going to need to make a new character. I was pretty disappointed by that because I really don't feel like leveling a new character, but I'll probably have to make an alt just to try out the Warden. There will be 3 skill lines: Winter's Embrace, Green Balance, and Animal Companions. Winter's Embrace is the one that focuses on defensive ice skills, Green Balance focuses on healing abilities, and then Animal Companions is for your animal DPS, like summoning a swarm of bugs to do AoE damage, or like we saw in the gameplay trailer, summoning a cliff racer to attack an enemy. ZeniMax says they see the class working really well as a healer, but it could also fill in as a tank or DPS role if it has to. They also said a Stam Bow DPS build would work really well with the Warden. The ultimate for the Warden will be summoning an animal companion. We saw the bear in the cinematic trailer. If you want to use that ability and summon an animal companion, that's going to have to be your ultimate on both skill bars. It would be too OP if you could summon an animal with one ultimate and then switch skill bars and use another ultimate once it recovers. It would just be too overpowered, so if you do want to summon a bear companion or something like that, you're going to have that ultimate on both of your skill bars. Heavy attacking a target will make your pet's target animal, and that also applies to pets that are in the game right now. That will be changing with the Morrowind DLC. One last thing I want to mention real quick is they said they're looking to increase the value of ESO Plus now that chapters aren't included. They know the community is a little upset about the decrease in value of ESO Plus, so they're looking for new things to add to it to make it more valuable. I love how ZeniMax does stuff like this and how they're so open with the community, and I'm really happy they addressed it because I was a little worried about ESO Plus becoming just less valuable over time. But that's pretty much it for the video, guys. I hope you learned something. If you did, hit the like button. If you guys want to see more, hit the subscribe button. We'll be covering ESO and also other RPGs and MMOs. I'll have a new video on the new Shadow of Mordor game coming out soon. Thank you guys so much for watching as always, and I'll see you in the next one.